Alright, story time. And I'm going to tell it like it is. Because it really doesn't matter much what I put on my channel, apparently. Because hardly anybody gets to watch it as it is. This is a story about how I came to lose my faith in people. And why I find it hard to trust anyone. I'm what I like to call an equal opportunity hater. I think everybody's of low character and little honor until they're willing to step up and prove differently. And when and if they do, I'll be more than happy to give them the credit they deserve. Today is a very sad and bitter day for me because I have to give up on my dream of getting this thing to the racetrack. Some things just ain't meant to be, and apparently this just ain't meant to be. And even though I had been given assurances along the way by my own people that things weren't going to turn out this way, this is exactly the way they turned out. Because my own people are more than happy to say what sounds good. And that flies in the face of honorable behavior. Because the sum total of the money that I've been cheated out of to date adds up to about 15 grand. More than enough to finish and field this car. First of all, my worthless uncle, who conned me into basically destroying myself, rebuilding a campground. The whole time, him promising that he's going to follow through with his words, saying things like his word was his bond. Well, his word wasn't his bond, and when it came time to settle up, he denied everything, looked me right in the face and said, "I don't recall saying that." I should have broke that man's jaw that day. At least I got something out of it. But instead of raising a fuss and causing all kinds of problem in the family, I just walked away. And my own people, who are supposed to be on my side, my close people, meaning my parents, haven't said a word, didn't back me up. As a matter of fact, every time he says I'm lying about it, they just nod their heads and go along with it because he's the money man and they don't want to fly in the face of his money and prestige. Well, that's not the way I see it. As a matter of fact, I'll outright say that man's a piece of shit with no honor, and he can't die soon enough as far as I'm concerned. But that's small potatoes compared to my mother and my sister. My mother used to call me stupid, worthless. And she said she wished I was never born. And her favorite go-to phrase, speaking to her own child, was, "I wish you were never born and you're a waste of human flesh." These are things no child should hear in their life, no less from their mother. And I never understood why my sister used to beat me with coat hangers and pick up random items around the house and look me right in the eye and say, "This is what I'm going to beat you with today." And if that didn't work, she'd grab the biggest butcher knife in the block and start chasing me down the hallways with it, like Freddy Krueger in some nightmare movie. Well, eventually, after being attacked from every angle, emotionally and physically, you start believing the things that the people say to you. Supposedly, these are people of authority in someone's life. You love them, so why would they say these things if they didn't really believe them? Say and do these things if they didn't really believe them? Well, I never figured it out till some years later, just by coincidence, during the election in 2016, when I started noticing a lot of similarities between the way the Democrats treated the American people and the way that I was treated growing up. Obviously, somebody had something to hide, and there was a mystery afoot. The parallels were just too hard to ignore. As time went on and things were said and done behind the scenes to try to cover up some grand secret that someone behind the scenes had and orchestrated all the things that we've seen play out in the past couple of years. It was like reliving my childhood all over again in a different way, except for now the American people were the ones being abused and lied to, and they didn't know why. Just like in my life, there was a deep state element, somebody with a horrible secret that they were trying to hide, and would be more than happy to throw anyone under the bus, do anything, say anything, just to protect their secret so that their public embarrassment wouldn't be let out into the world. There's a monster hiding in the closet who has done horrible things but has no honor and no guts to face the things they've done. So they'll be more than happy to throw us, the American people, or Erik, the little boy, under the bus just to protect themselves and their horrible secret. So let's wrap up our little tale. I know why my sister acted like a insane psychopath when I was a kid, even though I didn't know it then. I even went so far as to take a lot of her physical abuse because I knew there was something going on that made her that way, but I never really got a handle on what it was. But turns out there are plenty of parallels to be had between what I experienced growing up and we are all experiencing now. And had anyone had the nerve to stand up and say, I'm not going to put up with this anymore, it would have never happened. And this thing could very well have been on the track today, because that would have bred honor in the family. People would have been more than willing or felt compelled to give their word and keep their word. But as far as I'm concerned, that hasn't happened, and it isn't going to happen until people are prepared to put their foot down and say enough is enough, and be willing to peer into the darkness and expose whatever secret is hiding in plain sight. There's an old saying, with friends like that, who needs enemies? I'd be more than happy to abbreviate that saying with family like that, who needs family? That's why my philosophy is trust no one, because no one can be trusted unless they're willing to step up and prove it by living up to their words, actions, and deeds. That's why I'm more than happy to call Donald Trump my president, because he has. Everything he said he was going to do, he's tried to deliver on, even though there have been people working behind the scenes to try to stop him and make him look like an idiot at any turn they can. When the reality of it is, they're only making themselves look like idiots. Not unlike the architect of my demise, my very own father, who isn't willing to own up to his horrible secret and will throw anybody under the bus just to protect it. Have a nice freaking day.